Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Demo Like a Pro for Marketing Hub Starter. Obviously now with email. Now Marketing Hub Starter may be technically like something HubSpot already has, right? Well, actually we're in the process of rebranding, relaunching, and adding in some new features, obviously such as email, to this tool that's been around for a little while, but we do consider this a pretty big deal. You know, the fact that we've been able to bring in email to such an inexpensive or low cost product we feel is going to change the way not only HubSpot goes to market, but our agency partners go to market as well. So we certainly want to focus some good time on it today and in today's webinar. So what we're going to cover, what it is, why it matters, and how to sell it. So if I toggle over here to key takeaways, we're going to talk about what's included in Marketing Hub Starter, pricing, packaging, tools. We're going to go through a day in the life of our target persona. Now, for a long time, we've understood this marketing persona, right? Both HubSpot and our partners have understood this persona, but we feel with Marketing Hub Starter, this is going to be slightly different. So we do want to share some particular challenges that these folks might be going through. And then obviously we'll go through a live demo of some tips and tricks, and then how you can demo it yourself. And then we'll certainly wrap up with just a few things to note. So first and foremost, what's included. So what you see here on the left-hand side, all of the various tools and functionalities of Marketing Hub Starter, we've organized them into 4 different themes. So starting with lead capture in the yellow, custom lead flow fields, Facebook and Instagram lead ad integration. You can start pulling in conversions from all these different channels. And then conversations, which you may already be familiar with, will be coming to Marketing Hub Starter in August. So very, very soon. The CRM is, of course, included. It is and always will be free. And then the Marketing Hub Starter actually includes unlimited lead intelligence. So you can see here on the free version, you get 7 days worth of data, but the expiration date happens a week after the lead comes in. Marketing Starter, there's no longer an expiration date on that data. And then email marketing in the bottom here, like right under the orange and the red. Email marketing is obviously the big one. I do want to confirm again that this is not the only feature in the tool, right? So I don't want to over focus on this, but it's not just a lightweight email marketing tool. I mean, it includes all these things. Look at all the different functionalities, right, across all 4 themes. But email, understandably, is going to be the big selling point. You'll be able to create some lightweight lists and do some blast emails directly from Marketing Hub Starter. And then lastly here, some really simple reporting to get started, canned reports, default dashboards. And then we're actually going to remove the HubSpot branding. So no longer will it say powered by HubSpot. It'll remove that. And then HubSpot phone support will be available as well. I don't want that to be undervalued either. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but just know that Marketing Hub Starters do get access to HubSpot support over the phone. So another thing to be made aware of as we go back to email, it's not just incorporating our email tool. It's actually a complete reimagining of the email editing experience. This is currently available in beta for some pro and enterprise or some Gold Plus partners. Now, this is the only option in Marketing Hub Starter, right? So we're going to get through a demo of this, but just note that it is a new way to think about email editing and email publishing within HubSpot. So it's going to be much more comparable. It's going to be just as easy to use, if not easier, than something like MailChimp, right? Some of the other low-cost options already out there. Now, we never like to just compare ourselves, right? HubSpot doesn't want to compare itself apples to apples with another tool, but a lot of the requests we've gotten over the years from customers, agencies and agencies customers, right, is that, there should be a simplified option, or can you simplify things similar to a MailChimp? And I feel we've taken that step with this new editor. So what is Marketing Starter? So kind of just organizes all of those tools in another view here. But for lead capture, this is going to include forms, lead flows, Facebook and lead ads. The next piece here, the CRM itself, right? Contact management, company management, deal and task management. You should be very familiar with that. And then with email marketing, there's actually 2 different kinds, or let's say 2 different flavors of emails that will be included. So one is marketing emails via that drag and drop editor we just looked at the screenshot of, batch and blast. Now, we also have a kickback email, and just to unpack that a little bit, if you set up a lead flow where we convert somebody on a pop-up, maybe it's like an exit intent pop-up on your website, you can now add in an email that goes to them, sending them their offer or whatever they just subscribed for. So again, 2 options for email, either through that drag and drop editor, a marketing email, or kickback through lead flows. Now on the bottom in blue, you can see here, I definitely don't want to undervalue this. This should be a huge selling point when somebody says, well, yeah, looks like WordPress or my current tools offer most of this stuff, right? If I just have MailChimp and a few other plugins, that works for me. Well, okay, maybe yes, technically they do, but they don't have canned reporting. That's just ready to go for you out of the box. That's going to show you the effectiveness of all of your marketing in sync together. And then most importantly is the phone support, right? HubSpot has the infrastructure to support our customers, and you can actually call in if you're Marketing Hub Starter, right? A Marketing Hub Starter customer, and you need help designing your email or something like that. I mean, you can talk to a human to solve that problem or to answer your question. So that's definitely not going to happen with those other options. Okay, it's not going to happen with MailChimp, whatever it may be. And that is something that comes along with your client subscription to Marketing Hub Starter. So make sure you're using that line, right? If somebody asks you directly how HubSpot compares to all these other free or cheap tools, we can guarantee the majority, if not like 99% of them, don't have any mechanism for that kind of support and touch points with human support. So, okay, why does this matter? So for companies that are just getting started with their marketing, managing tools can be super painful, right? Let's imagine you have a WordPress website. Every time you log in, you're going to see these little red updates that we're probably all used to seeing. If any of our partners have websites on WordPress, if not, your clients are probably on WordPress, and so you're probably pretty familiar with these. Obviously, these all represent plugins, right? So plugins are little additions to your site that are typically developed by smaller companies and then sold or just made available on their app store. And they can be very, very cumbersome, right? You have to update them. Some of them end up costing money, and there are millions of options. Well, maybe millions is hyperbole, but there's at least thousands, right? A ton of options. And so this is a very common pain you're going to find, and you may already recognize it or notice it, right? And then every time you update them, there might be a little error with it, or you're going to run out of the free version, so now you're going to have to start paying for it to get the upgrade you need, right? So a lot of these smaller vendors, it just starts adding up, and it can be very hard to create a consistent, reputable business because you just never know what it's going to cost you to actually do what you want to do, tomorrow versus where you're at today or yesterday. So again, we just use forms as an example. Like there's literally thousands of different things you can be confused about. Like it doesn't just have to be forms. And so this process continues to replicate itself, right? I mean, you guys might be familiar with this graphic, right? You guys might be familiar with Scott Brinker. Like this gets very confusing very quickly. It creates a lot of headaches. Like for MarTech, like where do I even start? How do I know which form tool I need? How does that form tool compare to this one? More tools equals more time spent managing those tools. When if I'm a small business, you just want to get back to managing your business or working your sales leads or thinking about your next round of financing, right? So when something falls through the cracks because of this complicated landscape, their customers are going to notice. For example, how many times have we been on a website? You can go on any website, you pull it up, and then a pop-up or a form that you're trying to fill out doesn't work. Or a CAPTCHA just keeps bringing you into this loop where you're just getting confused and what you're trying to accomplish, you're just getting stalled out. So that might be a bad example, but HubSpot will actually take care of all of that stuff via Marketing Hub Starter for your clients. And so as your business grows, or, I'm speaking as if I'm part, but, as your agency clients or as your prospects' businesses grow, they're going to outgrow those tools, right? So with HubSpot, that's not necessarily going to be the case. So I would say there's 3 main ways. And we can just look at the couple tools, right? We just talked about this. Now, there's 3 main ways to sell Marketing Hub Starter. So I would say the first one's this low touch option, like email outreach, no live demo, and then it's a pretty quick purchase, right? So maybe you've already had the conversation. They're familiar with their business. It just seems to be a matter of investment. So maybe you just go ahead, record yourself on a Vidyard or something like that. And actually, I'll give you a deck. We'll toggle over to a new deck that you can actually incorporate into that process. But, low touch, again, they're familiar with you. And then you just kind of walk through what it's going to allow them to do, communicate how low of a price point it is. Here are the services that we're going to bundle around. And then, that can be a pretty low touch sale. So the other option 2, obviously you get into more of a higher touch. So this is probably more familiar or more common to a normal retainer sales process. This is actually the live demo. You can do that 5-10 minute presentation, highlight the apps that make the most sense for any given prospect. Now that piece, the higher touch, we'll actually walk through and do that as part of this video today. And then the third option, which I think is going to resonate the most with our partners or be the one that you tend to lean on the most, is this idea of a fallback, right? So let's just say you're going through the sales process. It feels like a normal sale. You're pitching Pro or Enterprise, the Marketing Hub, or any sort of growth stack or combination of the platform on HubSpot. Opportunity feels good, but then all of a sudden, there seems to be a lack of budget or a lack of commitment. Like, okay, rather than having that stall out the sales process, you now have the option to fall back and say, well, listen, we do have a lighter weight option. It costs $50 per month plus whatever contacts you actually have. $50 a month actually now includes just 1,000 contacts, but then there's that contact tier. There's the flexibility if they have more. But it starts at $50 a month, and we can get you started right away, and here are the services we're going to be able to do. So from there, you can work with your CAM, get a payment link, and then if they fill that out, you have somebody ready to actively send emails from HubSpot, right? Maybe they're actually using the CRM. Maybe they're setting their website up for conversion, lead generation with lead flows, Facebook lead ads, things like that. And then now, this is a really good seed and grow approach that you can go back to and say a month or 2 months, 3, 6, whatever it is, and then double check that they have all of the right stuff that they need, right? Both in terms of software and in terms of your agency services, right? Have you, at this low investment, seen enough growth to justify a larger investment in marketing? So it's a very exciting, this fallback option can be a great seed and grow approach for our agency partners. So before we get into the actual demos, just a few things to note, and I'll just open all of these up. There we go. So the product goes live on July 17th. So the drag and drop email editor is the only email experience in Marketing Hub Starter. So it launches on July 17th with the drag and drop email editor. So you might be familiar with that legacy email experience. Maybe that's the one, it's likely in your portals today, unless you're on, the beta. Now, that's still going to be made available to some if you're on Pro and Enterprise, but very soon, the drag and drop email editor will be rolled out across all subscription of HubSpot. So just note, Pro and Enterprise might open with the legacy email, will eventually move to drag and drop. Marketing Hub Starter only has drag and drop email editor. Now, the other piece here, the third bullet down, some advanced features are still only going to be made available in Pro and Enterprise. So A/B testing, time zone sending, right? So if they do have a sophisticated email strategy, Marketing Hub Starter won't always be a good fit. So that's just something you're going to have to qualify within your sales process. The last bullet here, the navigation, obviously, of Pro and Enterprise is going to change and differ than the starter portal, right? So as it's likely that you're going to demo from your agency's portal or a client's, whatever it may be, and they are on Pro and Enterprise, the navigation will be different. So it's going to be important to have the right talk track because as you can see in the screenshots below, Pro and Enterprise has files and templates, social, website, planning and strategy. So it's just going to be important and you have to be comfortable with what that distinction looks like and then having that eloquent, like that talk track to explain it a little bit. So obviously it's probably going to make sense to remain in your professional portal to demo, but again, be able to explain the difference. If anything, this could be an opportunity for, actually we are interested in having social or hosting our website or what is files and templates. So could be a nice segue to some of the features of Pro and Enterprise, but just make sure you communicate that those are not available in HubSpot Starter. Okay. So without further ado, let me get out of this doc. If we look at demo time here, there's actually going to be one thing I do want to show you. If I can just hit escape here. This deck here, again, if we talk about this lightweight sales motion, the team here put together a mini deck. So a really good use case for this might be, going through, recording a vidyard that just goes through like the quick hit, the high value points of Marketing Hub Starter. Again, maybe it doesn't require a full demo. So don't even get into the point and click. This is just a Google slide presentation. I'll include, again, a link to this in the comments so you can use these slides as you see fit. Now, it does have a brief introduction, goes through things like lead capture, right? Find and convert, more leads through Facebook ads, forms, right? Pop-ups, all of that. It's snappy, it has a quick screenshot, describes what it does. Same for email marketing, powered by the CRM, pull this whole thing together. And then lastly, just a reiteration about the community. you get with HubSpot and your clients will get with HubSpot, right? Live support, things like that. So feel free to use this if you want to take advantage of like that low touch model. However, let's actually get into the demo so we can talk about what that'll look like. So let me just toggle over. Cool. So here's the HubSpot portal. This is going to be the starter portal. This is a demo of the starter portal. Again, so just note that there's going to be some differences if you're going through a pro and enterprise. So we'll go through some features right now. But just like any other demo, you can start along the top and describe how HubSpot has that free CRM. And it's, considered the backbone with all we do. So all of your contacts and companies can be managed here. And before you ever want to start communicating with anybody, right, if I'm talking to a client, you can actually create the lists of your existing customers. So import in, and then they can actually just start communicating with all of their current leads, current customers, without first, starting from zero or focusing on net new lead acquisition, right? So maybe the route you would want to take on this demo is to show how we can reinvigorate our existing database with some marketing emails. It's a little more targeted that we've done in the past, maybe with something like MailChimp. Now that's the first key distinction I want you to be made aware of. It's going to be, again, a little different inside of a professional portal. So if I'm going into lists, I know we were just talking about segmenting. If I go into create a list, the professional portal, as you can see here, the options is going to have a different set, right? So it's a very simple difference, but it's worth noting. Starter clients have 3 available ways to segment lists, and those are going to be contact properties, marketing email activity, and form submissions. So again, the value here is we can get a little more targeted with our approach when it comes to email, but if you're in a professional portal, you're going to see more options than what they'd have on a starter portal. And then this is all coming in from the same system, right? So if we're building lists or importing contacts, building lists, and sending emails for our clients, it's all from the same system. So it's not something that we're then plugging into a different CRM or our website. It's all included, one system on HubSpot. And then if they get stuck, they have support that they can call into. So now we want to show how we can actually communicate with these folks. And I would say that's where email comes in, right? So the editor is so easy to use. I'm just going to hit create email. And what you'll actually notice is a series, brand new shiny templates that we can use: newsletter, promotion, or feedback. So if I take a look at the promotion here, let this open up. Cool. So you might get an idea here, obviously just choosing one template, you might get an idea of like how that can start you out with a design. So the beauty here is rather than going through multiple screens or having to know a little bit of code, this is all just a super elegant interface that you can just drag and drop things right into the email preview. So, buttons are kind of like lightweight CTAs. I can throw that in here, and then all of a sudden I have all of the customization. So I can change the color, I can change the fonts, whatever it may be, add the right hyperlink, things like that. So very easy to get set up, and it's probably a very familiar interface if these folks that you're talking to already know MailChimp, right? Very similar interface, very similar process of building an email. So you can also do that same sort of drag and drop with templates as well. So obviously we chose a one to get us started, but if I didn't want 2 columns here, if I wanted to move over to 3, or if I wanted to put 3 up here, drag and drop that, slide this button in. So again, the template, the design of the email is drag and drop as well. So super cool. You can add, if I go in here, you can change the spacing, adjust the column layout, whatever it is. So you can actually adjust and tweak the design or the shape and size of these columns as well. So super cool there, very modern. If I go back and go to design, right? Okay, do I want to change the overall background color, body color, fonts, hyperlink colors, right? So from the overall design of the email, there's some customization there too. So everything else from here, if we're happy with the design of the email, everything else should be pretty familiar, right? You're going to have to go through settings as always, fill out the who's it coming from, subject line, previews text. You got to go in and select recipients. Again, you can include that list that you just created in the previous screen, or you can create a new list right from here, which will bring me back to the editor. So again, you can do this from your professional portal if you have the drag and drop activated. Just be aware that there's going to be more than those 3 options for segmentation. So you'll want to change the talk track up a little bit there and be upfront with what's included in starter versus professional. I know I've harped on that a few times. It's just going to be super important. So you set the right expectations right from the top. So if I go back into the marketing drop down, so I'm going to toggle off emails, right? We've just built the list, show them the segment options. made an email template super easily and had an email ready to send. If I go into lead capture, there's just a few other things I want to talk about. Obviously, email is like the home run of the new like the HubSpot Marketing Hub starter. But there's other things that I don't want to be, have you consider or undervalue them. So this is the new way for small businesses, I would say. Let's just say they were doing a lot of cold calling or going to a lot of trade shows. This is now an opportunity to start pulling in folks who are already coming to their website. And again, it's going to be something you can set up in a very lightweight way. So in addition to your website, you can actually connect all of your ads tools. So if they have Facebook or Instagram ads, and which we all know a ton of small businesses are already doing, and HubSpot has a partnership with those companies that allows you to sync those leads in real time and really get started with the stuff. So again, if they're already doing that stuff, you can just sync it and get going on the starter platform super easily. So all of those social ad leads coming in automatically sync with HubSpot. So now, before I toggle into lead flows, I just want to point, it's called Marketing Starter for a reason, right? So as people are just exploring these new channels to pull people in, right? We have this new thing called the internet. You can do that with HubSpot, right? We have collected forms. We've talked about the forms tool again. You can see these two options, right? So again, if you're getting those questions from these prospects, like, yeah, listen, we're talking about ads, we're talking about forms and collected forms. Like I'm already doing that with my WordPress website, and I already hobbled together, these the plugins, the stack, it's all working for me. You can ask them this question. Well, how often are you looking to upgrade your forms plugin? Now, how do you know if you're using the right forms plugin, right? If you get stuck, like who do you call? Is there anyone that you can call to help, right? The answer is likely no. Now with HubSpot, we make that super easy, right? None of these things necessarily require a demo, right? Ads, collected forms, but you can certainly toggle in and feel free to do so. So lastly, lead flows. There's going to be a new step. So you might be already familiar with lead flows, their functionality. Best practices were to incorporate them, walking through a design. That's probably the case. But there is one new step that I do want to show you. So as you go through the process of creating a lead flow, you've done type, call out, you've built the form, the thank you message. You can see this item here, follow up email. You can see obviously coming very soon. The product launch is imminent. But when this goes live, you'll be able to add a kickback email to lead flow conversion. So in addition to creating your flow and your call out, send that kickback automatically once somebody converts. So if it's an offer or whatever it may be, the kickback email goes right through lead flows versus having to go into the marketing email tool. So again, that goes all the way back to that functionality table we were looking at. Two types of emails: marketing through the drag and drop editor, then kickbacks through this follow-up tab in the lead flow creation process. So that's a lot. We've covered what it is. We've covered why it's important, especially to this new persona. And again, the launch date is going to be July 17th. The price point is going to start at $50 a month, which is super low cost. There will be some variable pricing based around contacts, but at that $50 a month price tag, it does come with 1,000 contacts, or up to 1,000 contacts. So with that, I'm going to bid you all adieu. Go into the comments section, put your questions in there. I monitor that. I'll respond to whatever comes through, and then I'll make sure you have a link to that low touch, like functionality deck, that mini deck that walks through Marketing Hub Starter. Feel free to use that as you see fit. And with that, I will sign off. Thank you, everybody.